I have been very lucky in that I have spent my career writing for audiences that largely disagreed with me. And I say lucky because that's the goal of the writer, is to persuade, and you have more opportunities to persuade when you're writing for people who disagree with you. I've always seen my role as to sort of try and constantly assume good faith and start any disagreement with the strongest and best understanding of the other side's argument. So, and again, I'm sort of, to some degree, forced to this because I am literally writing for people who hold those arguments. So if I supply a caricature of my readers' arguments, they will, sort of reject everything I have to say because they'll know I'm caricaturing them. But that to me is sort of where effective disputation and argument begins, with an assumption that the people you disagree with hold their beliefs for good reasons. You can figure out what some of those reasons are, and you can talk to them if you acknowledge the good reasons that they hold those beliefs, and don't begin with the sort of worst possible view of their motives. That's not to say that people don't have bad motives for their beliefs. People do. People have good and bad motives, right? But if you're trying to have an effective argument with someone, you always want to find the good motivation and the good reason and start there. And any productive conversation, I think, can only begin with that kind of movement and that kind of gesture.
I want to build on what you said. I think it's really important. I think there are bad faith actors out there, and so I don't think in every situation you can say, I want to hear what you have to say and I want to give dignity to it, because I think there are people who are not arguing or putting forth positions in good faith. But I do think it's really important that we always treat each other as human beings, right? And not as abstractions. And I think one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest kind of agents of our inability to discuss politics across lines, our inability to compromise, to have a kind of productive Congress and all that sort of stuff, is that everybody is dealing in abstractions and not in human beings. And I'm going to describe a situation that happens weekly with me. I bet you it happens more than weekly with Ross, where you will write something that someone disagrees with strongly, and you will get an extraordinarily heated, vitriolic, venomous, mean email. You'll get many of them, but you'll choose one maybe, and
I try to only send you those emails like every other week, Frank.
And you will occasionally respond to one of them, and you will actually respond in a kind of civil way. You'll actually kind of engage the merits of the argument and not the name calling. And 99 out of 100 times, you get an email back in short order, and the person is tripping over themselves, apologizing to you and saying, actually, I think you're really a good writer. I love your relationship with your dog. I'm sorry I came out of the gate that way. Because now you're human beings with different opinions as opposed to ideological crusaders under abstract banners. And I just think it's really important in the way we do our jobs and in the way all of us kind of move through the world, that we try to behave as human beings and not as abstractions, and we try to see the people around us that way.